Hi everybody. Um, so I'm Jonathan Sopha. I am here on behalf of the Waukesha County Community, and I want to thank the City of Pewaukee and Current Electric for inviting us to say a few words here today. And I want to focus on our work as kind of advocates for sustainability and kind of how this project works in with some of the things we advocate for in our community. So I'm a member of the Pewaukee Green Team, which is a community subgroup of the Waukesha County Green Team. And we work on education and collaboration and kind of trying to integrate sustainability and sustainable ideas into our community fabric. And we're really excited also to see this amazing project. You know, seeing it in person is really impressive. It's massive, it's big. It kind of shows you, you know, the kind of investment and kind of work it takes to put a project like this together. And I'm a longtime resident of Pewaukee. I'm very impressed with what our community does to save money, to advocate for our community to make it a healthy, safe place to live. And I want to talk a little bit about what we think of when we think about sustainability. We think about it in three pillars. First being economics, very important, what the mayor was talking about. The environment, and then also the social impact of sustainable projects and how the social impacts are important to these types of projects. So, kind of basically the economy here, economics, this is a renewable resource. There's an investment that was made by the city. This is going to pay revenue back and a return on investment for many decades. I'm sure Chuck will talk a bit about that and the advantages of solar. The environmental impact is also important. There's a couple key features here. One, it's a renewable resource. It has a low carbon impact, so that's also something we look for. And also in this particular case, this used to be, as you can kind of look around, a Department of Public Works site. So it was a pretty intensive site, a lot of stuff going on back here. And, as the city starts adapting this space to other types of uses, seems to be a great fit. To have something that's less impactful and potentially has some, potential for natural habitat and natural development back here. That's something I'll talk about in a minute. And then the other, I think the bigger picture here for us, specifically our community group, was the social impact. So I think, community taking a lead like Pewaukee has here to put up a solar installation, that thinks about economy, thinks about the future, thinks about our community is really important. And, for the environmental and the economic impacts and the benefits, that's really great that they've done that. The other advantage for us as a community group is to have community leaders that are willing to work with us. Sometimes you can have collaboration, sometimes it becomes a little more adversarial. And I will say that our experiences with the city of Pewaukee have been great. We've had lots of open dialogue over ideas we have and things we want to share with the community. And I want to kind of give a special thank you to Nick Fuchs, our city planner, for being very open, very accessible over the years. In this particular project, our group did not get involved with any of this, the implementation, the budgeting, all the work that goes into a project like this. But it was part of an early conversation we had about energy use and renewables and potential to have a project that might fit into the city's budget and in the city's facilities. So in this particular case, we had these early conversations, we made some connections, and not to say that we were the full impetus for it, but it definitely helped get the conversation going, and it made us feel very wanted and part of a community process and part of a team. So we really enjoyed that, and we've enjoyed talking with Nick and with the city on other projects ever since. One of the projects we're hopefully, excited to work out and roll out with the city soon is a native habitat project that we're working on in our community in Pewaukee, along with other communities in Waukesha County. That involves, it's called the Habitat Certification Program that's sponsored by the National Wildlife Federation. So that project will be kicking off this summer. We would love to work with Current Electric and with the city on perhaps, improving the space back here, having some native plants, having some natural habitat. And then our program will also be something that the city residents and the communities will get involved with over time. So that's a multi-year project, but in the end, it's a one of those things that we really want to connect the dots with our community work, with our community, our leaders, and with our residents. So that's something we're really excited about. So thank you. We'll move on to the main event here, but thank you for inviting us and kind of to say a few words about this today.
The main event, but I am very proud to be here. I want to thank Nick Fuchs. He did a great job of seeing the foresight and putting this together. Mayor Beers, Steve Beers, and Scott Klein, the former mayor, and all the people of the city of Pewaukee for making this happen. As an entrepreneur, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family and I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I started Kern Electric 42 years ago and seriously got looking into solar about 30 years ago. Started doing projects about 25 years ago. As a business opportunity, it was a dream, crazy expensive. But those people that really did that, the solar pioneers that really walked us through this, have seen great returns on their investments. And they are thrilled with the projects that we installed 25 years ago to this day. And I gotta tell you, it was a crazy dream for those solar pioneers because it was so expensive. But however, that expense ratio and the cost of electricity and power going up and the cost of solar coming down by over 1,000% or more, it has really turned the tide to being a great investment that any serious investor, let alone business person or homeowner, should be looking at. And really exciting to see that happen. We've installed solar in all corners of Wisconsin. We've kind of been one of those solar pioneers from Wisconsin, starting out in the Iowa border with Darien, doing schools there, doing as far north of Crandon, doing work for the Sagagan Nation, the Potawatomi Nation, the Ho-Chunk Nation, and all the nations in the state of Wisconsin. We're proud to be putting solar fields in and solar projects in for businesses and homes. It's exciting to see that happen. But to come home to my hometown, I live in Pewaukee, and to do it right here and to see the initiative of people that really said, hey, this can work for us and be a great return on investment. Actually, it's not an investment. It's just a redistribution of expenses, if you really think of it. You have to pay your electric bill either way. You have to pay your taxes as well. This solar field is redistributing the expense of their electrical bill to something that is making power. More power than they're using during the day, more power than they're using during the summer. And right now, that investment, as designed, we've been designing these systems all over Wisconsin for schools, churches, homes, businesses, and we've worked for every sun that has entered the Wisconsin market. Just kind of as a joke: Sunrun, Sunpeak, SunPower, SunVest, Sun Badger, and SunNow, and we've designed and engineered those systems for them, and we've helped grow this emerging market. Solar is an emerging market, and Kern Electric, because of this, we have 6,000 square feet of solar modules right now in a warehouse in the city of Pewaukee. They're pre-tariff, so we basically have a group buy program for everybody that's in or around the city of Pewaukee and has a home or in a business. We would love to extend that buy. We got it stacked to the gills with solar, and they're not facing the sun. You know what they need to be? They need to be making power for people. And we really want to make sure that this happens for other people and businesses, that they understand this investment, because it is a great one. Why is solar such a great investment? Well, what makes solar so great? It's no moving parts. Randy and I can show you the system today. There's very few moving parts. There's a solar module that's totally renewable. It's aluminum, glass, and silica sand. Glass is sand as well. That can be totally recycled if it needs to be. But why recycle it when I hope 50 years from now I can be sitting in front of this field and it'll still be, those solar modules will still be producing solar power as they are. It's doing some of our cell phones in the stratosphere. That would be my dream 50 years from now. But however, this system will pay for itself relatively quickly. Already, it's the 588, 410 volt solar modules were put there, and I really hope that what we can see is that they're warranted for 25 years, but they should still be producing for over 50 years, quite frankly. And that investment, the mayor has said some of the residents were worried about, do they pay for their carbon footprint? Well, I can guarantee you they pay for their carbon footprint, and they very much pay. They're just a great investment for that matter. There is no working parts. Everything else, this system will need very, very little maintenance. Some glitches could happen, but we have tens of thousands of solar modules all over the state of Wisconsin for all over these areas. We've seen very, very few problems with them. We only have one guy on staff of all the solar that we install doing repairs on solar, quite frankly. And we are looking to install a lot more. As far as the racking comes from a foreign shore of Ann Arbor, Michigan, across the lake. The inverters are made in USA. The step-down transformer that we use to go from 480 volt this system produces to the 208 that the City Hall needs is made and procured in Baraboo, Wisconsin. And Eaton Cutler Hammer is all a Milwaukee-based company in surrounding areas, obviously, in the United States. The key win for solar, no moving parts. And since January, but the other key win is the return on investment. Since January, this system has produced over 79,000 kWh, more than the equivalent of 7,000 gallons of gasoline. It offset, that's a lot of gas. That's a lot of gas. More than, since January 20th, right? That's when we got it running. Offset more than 47 tons of CO2. That's helping out the environment. That's the fiscal and the good thing to do to keep the carbon in the ground where it really belongs, because that's what the planet has been doing for the first few millions or billions of years, putting the carbon in the ground, not into the atmosphere. And it's also the equivalent of 33,000 electric vehicles being charged. We drove our Tesla here today. It's solar powered as well, because it's powered off of our building. The system output is calculated. We calculate this by looking at national NIREL, which is a national organization, and it was really looks at the weather patterns, as the mayor said. This is still producing very well right now, even with this total cloud cover. But it looks at the weather patterns in our zip code, and it calculates it. It does a pretty good job of calculating it. However, maybe with some conservative calculations on what it would produce, this system is producing over 17% more than it was projected. Wouldn't you like to do that with all of your investments? 17% more than they were projected to do since January. Congratulations, Pewaukee, for making a great fiscal and socially responsible investment. I am so proud to be a part of this community. And again, the solar pioneers of Current Electric would be happy to get those solar modules out of our warehouse in Pewaukee and on your roofs or in your field near your business or your home. Thank you, former Mayor Scott Klein and Nick Fuchs, for having the vision. Thank you, Green Team, for having the vision, for planting the seed to make this happen. And thank you, everyone that had the foresight to see this through. I really think the community of Pewaukee for shining a light on an amazing emerging technology. Thank you for shining the light on an emerging technology, and congratulations for making this happen. Thank you.